Dad, you said that there was no air power against you, so no force in the air. But just from my knowledge of history and the movie Saving Private Ryan, I know that there was a slaughter of the men that landed. So it wasn't from the air. So were the Germans already down on the beach waiting?
No. The German machine gunners were up on top of the bluffs looking down at the beach. And they had practiced shooting with their machine guns. And there were no places to hide. It was one beach got in trouble. The other 3 beaches didn't have much trouble. I forget the name of the beach now. But we couldn't see that. We could see explosions. We could see the Navy would shoot their big guns over to and drop their shells on the beach. We could see those shells exploding. But I was so concerned about being sure I showed the bombardier where his target was. And I was concentrating on getting there at the right time and being sure that we hit our target. That's what I was mainly concerned with.
As I understand it, when you returned from that first mission, that early morning mission, you were told that you were going to go right back that day, right?
That's right. We went on a second mission later that afternoon. Our first mission was support for the infantry that were landing. And the second mission was to get back 4 or 5 miles into France and bomb railroad crossings and highways so that the German army could not get to Normandy. So we upset the railroad tracks and the roads. And everybody had a little bit different target. So of 2,000 airplanes with all the different target, we hit a lot of things in back of the invasion so the Germans could not bring their reinforcements in.
The beach that you were saying had the trouble, was that the Omaha beach? That was the one with the most casualties?
I think it was Omaha Beach.
So that's the one you were flying over.
No,
and
we were just to the left of Omaha.
Just to the left, okay.
Right, as we came in. Omaha was here and we were here. Omaha, our target was just to the left of Omaha Beach, so we didn't bomb ahead of Omaha Beach.
Dad, I know that they had one navigator for several planes. How did you communicate to those other planes exactly where they were to drop their bombs?
There were 9 planes there were 9, 15 planes in each squadron. And the lead navigator and the lead bombardier found the target, and then they shot a flare out from the bottom of the plane, and everybody dropped at the same time. So there was one navigator and one bombardier that led us onto the right target. That meant that you had, we had, 10 or 15 500-pound bombs? You multiply that times 15, and we got a lot of bombs on our target. And we hit our target. We creamed our target.
Dad, from my knowledge of living with you, you were in the 100th Bomb Group,
Right.
349th Squadron, James McGuire Crew.
Right.
And the James McGuire Crew was shot down in April
Right.
of 1944.
That's right.
And you were not on the plane.
That's right.
And so when that plane didn't return, were you then assigned a different crew then to be a part of?
I became an extra navigator. Now, there were crews that came to England that did not have a navigator. And when they would fly a mission, they would ask me to go with them. So every plane was supposed to have a navigator. Sometimes on a short mission, they would withhold the navigator, and they'd have what they call a toggelier would be up front. And then the bombardier would do the navigating. So it just depended on the mission and how far it would go. If it was a long mission, there would be a navigator on every plane, but they would follow the lead navigator. Then there was a second navigator and a third navigator. So if the lead navigator got shot down, the second one took over, or the third one took over.
So on D-Day, who were you flying with? Was it a crew that you were familiar with? I mean, your crew that you had trained and lived with was gone. That plane was gone.
Right.
So who were you flying with on D-Day?
I don't remember who I flew with. I've got records that would tell me who the pilot was and who the plane was, but I don't remember who it was. It was a short mission. We took off early in the morning and we got back before noon. If it had been a long mission, it would have been entirely different.
We're recording this, so generations, younger people in our family can listen to this and appreciate the fact that their grandfather, great-grandfather was actually there that day in one of the watershed moments of the 20th century, really. And you probably knew that at the time when you saw those thousands of people heading over toward Germany.
Oh, yes. We understood what was happening because some of us navigators had been briefed on a potential size of the D-Day, but none of us knew when it would be or where.
Well, and D-Day, you knew that term going in.
Oh, yeah.
That someday would be D-Day when you guys would go for that. What did the D-Day stand for?
I wish I knew. I think it was just a code word that Eisenhower figured out. It had another name. Overlord, I think it was.
Operation Overlord. Yeah,
Operation Overlord. Right. But D-Day was a slang expression, more or less.
So it wasn't Decision Day. That's what I have always thought my whole life.
Could be.
But only because I thought D, decision. Because then there was VJ, victory in Japan. But D, so I bet you're right. D meant nothing. I have no...
Didn't have a meaning, but there's a wonderful coincidence here. My plane had a big D on the tail.
Oh.
We've spent a lot of time talking about what exactly happened, how you did it, what went on that day. I guess just in conclusion of all of this, John, how do you want your family to remember all of those brave people who took part in that day, including yourself? What are you going to tell? What would you like them to think about you and your comrades?
People ask me a lot of times, did the Air Force win the war? Well, no, we didn't win the war. Neither did anybody. It took the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, the infantry, the underground. It took everybody, including everybody back home that was in industry. It took a huge effort by many people to make it work. Now, one thing I have done, I've written a poem about D-Day, and one of you ought to read it into the script.